Yo, hello, what is up, you guys? Vicem back here with a brand new video. Today, I'm going to keep this video a little bit on the shorter side. Today, we're going to be, just kind of talking about who really is to blame right now for the current state of the hobby, right? So, what I mean by that is all these high pre-sale prices are just these really high prices across the board, even after release, that are abnormally higher than what they were, back then. And I get it, different times, different market and everything. But for an ETB, I mean, for like with Prismatic, that was pre-selling almost at like 150, right? And literally 151, you were able to buy before they release. You could literally buy 151 cases of 151 the week they released. You could literally buy them for as low as like 490, 500 off of eBay. So that's without distribution or going on, websites and doing pre-orders. Or no, that's literally the day they released. With Prismatic, the day they released a case of ETBs, regular ETBs, not Pokemon Center, literally were going for around like 11, or I think like 11, 1200. That's like more than double of what 151 was going. And keep in mind, 151 isn't like no walk in the park. Like, oh, it's like it's not as good as Prism. Honestly, I would say 151 is better than Prismatic in the long run, just because it has the nostalgia factor. It's the original 151. If you look in the past of sets, any set that has to do anything with the original 151, they always perform exponentially well over the long run. I mean, look at Generations. I mean, if you were to look at the set for Generations, there's really nothing much going on. Like it's a 151 remake and everything, but it's not done, even to the degree of what 151 has done, right? So with 151 having demand and everything, and all that backing it and just historical values over the past of what other sets that are also like remakes or whatever 151, even that it didn't come out the gate anywhere near as hot as Prismatic. If it would have came out like, say, I don't know, 700-800 in a case of ETBs, that'd be different. But you were able to buy them off eBay for like 490, 500, no problem. I literally was able to buy multiple cases without any issues, right? So the fact that Prismatic came out this hot out the gate, I get it. People say Evolving Skies 2.0, which, at the end of the day, if we really look at it, deeper, it really isn't, but that's a whole nother video. But it came out just so like strong out the gate. I mean, even right now, the booster bundles are literally pre-sale over 100 already, right? And same thing with Journey Together. This set, I made a video talking about it. It's not like a super crazy strong set, in my opinion. Like, it's good, but it's not anywhere near to almost. This is giving vibes like when Battle Style, Vivid, and Darkness were, obviously in the boom. So, okay, to put it simply, look at what happened with Battle Styles, Darkness, and Vivid. They went up, right? But then after all that hype, whatever that went out, look how the sets came down, and they haven't really recovered a whole lot. So that's kind of like the vibes Journey Together gives off. But I would honestly argue Journey Together is better than those sets. So even if it ends up like coming down like a pretty decent amount, it's not going to have any problem going up. Like it almost like resembles, I think I, made a comparison to like a Brilliant Stars almost. So, I could definitely see this box in the, in the next few years, being in like the mid high 200s, definitely like maybe like 260 or something later on. But even right now, I mean, booster boxes are literally over MSRP. Almost everything's over MSRP, right? And then we go over to eBay. I mean, prices for Prismatic, you can already see this, over 100, 110, 120, 130, even upwards of like 140, 150. Right, same thing with Journey Together. Booster boxes actually did come down. These were actually selling for 250 like a week out, like almost for like a week after they got sold out on Pokemon Center. So this actually did come down, and there's like a likely chance that it's going to probably come down a little more. Who knows? I don't know. I made a video talking about that, but yeah, I mean, this is selling above MSRP. And then obviously, we look at Prismatic as a set overall. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, it has a lot of like really solid hits. But anyways, going back, it's who really is to blame for all this? I mean, on multiple hands, actually, people obviously the main focus is scalpers, which I do agree to an extent, right? But the only reason scalpers can even exist in this hobby is because right now it's quick money. Like it's fast money. Like you could come in, buy up a whole bunch of product before it releases, right? Or on the day it releases and literally make double your money back. Like, for example, you buy Prismatic at $50 or something, or 40 if you had distribution, or whatever it is. Literally, you could sell it right away for over $100 easily. It's not like you have it up, like you're listing it or whatever, and it's going to be stuck there for like, a couple days, a week, or what. No, you can instantly sell it. Same thing with Journey Together. People are literally like, they put in their pre-orders on Pokemon Center or whatever, and they're already selling it on the website. Obviously, you have actual like distributions, for people distributions and everything, like stores. You obviously have them already listing it as well, but that's because they have their own allocation. But I'm talking about people that literally got their order confirmation, whatever, off Pokemon Center, and they're already selling it, on eBay to make like an extra, like, I don't know, 80 to $100. That's what I'm talking about. So the only reason scalpers exist is because of all the hype, all the FOMO, but mainly because of the fact that you can make quick money, right? So a lot of these people, and I know firsthand, they all come, a good majority of them come definitely from the sneaker community. I used to be part of that community. I mean, like years ago, like I would say for a little bit, I wasn't like completely involved, but I would, buy, sell, trade, right? But I got into it maybe for like a little bit, but the community was just like, I don't know. It didn't really like. It wasn't for me, but it was definitely like the same problem that people have with Pokemon site crashing, whatever. Yeah, like every Yeezy drop, every Air Force, like every single drop on the sneakers app, on like Nike, like almost everything, the site would be crashing, or you would be doing you'd be putting orders in, or you'd be waiting to see if you got them or whatever, that screen that says got them or whatever, and people would always be like, oh, it's always going. And then I know firsthand because people would literally be selling access to their Discord servers where they had bots that would drop right away, drops, everything pre or like catch free, like all that stuff, and people would literally be selling services in those servers. If you want, like, bots, it's going to cost this much, or people would literally say like, oh, if you want like a good good program where you could pick up like multiple sneakers at a time, it's going to cost one, all this stuff, right? But I know for a fact the good majority of people do come from there, because I mean, yeah, like right now the sneaker community, or who knows how it is in that hobby, maybe people are getting outpriced, or maybe they're not able to make anywhere near the percentages you could get here in the hobby. And a good portion of other people that are coming in are people that aren't even involved in Pokemon. They literally just heard it, maybe their friends talking about it or whatever, and then they looked and see, oh my god, like what, like literally, I look in the line, like I see videos, and it's people that don't even look like it's people that don't even look like, that they've even played the games before. Like they literally look like they maybe just saw one episode of Pokemon, like they maybe know Pikachu, Charizard, that's about it. They have like little to no knowledge. Like it's people that look like that, or people that aren't, like, you could tell they know nothing about Pokemon, they're not even from this hobby, that are literally coming here because there's like quick money or whatever, and it's like, but people obviously point their blame towards that. On one hand, people say investors, but I mean, I'm going to make a separate video about this, but I mean, investors, we literally, like, we're not happy either. Like, we don't want to be buying product this high. Like, if anything, like people say, oh, when they talk about a crash or whatever, we're happy about that. Because when a crash happens, that's one thing that I've learned, and not just in this hobby, but other hobbies, markets, or whatever that I kind of dabbled in. Whenever there's a bear market, a slowdown where things crash, people, like, they get scared and they start selling out for so cheap. That is literally the best time to make money. As long as you're not buying stupid things, like you're buying the good stuff cheap, it is so easy to make money. Like, you think this is easy to make money, right? Like, keep in mind the people that are probably getting this stuff that are scalping it are only making a couple hundred. And to those people that I say, okay, let's say this only lasts for a couple months and you make like, I don't know, 3-4 grand, right? After fees, whatever, in a year. Really? Wow, 3-4 thousand. That's in a year. Wow, that's impressive. Wow, props to you. Props to you. Really. Um, but obviously with investors, like it's literally easier to make money during a bear market and everything. And same thing with investors. We buy product that people don't want. We buy booster boxes when stores, literally are like, hey, like please buy our stuff. Like when they're a little high, we'll buy it. Other people don't. They just want the good stuff. But anyways, so investors, like, we're not even buying this crap at like a super crazy price. Like we're literally waiting for a reprint or whatever. And even then, people assume that investors and scalpers are the only people that have access to distribution programs. No, literally, what's his name? Pokemart, Eli, he literally has a program and he had spots open for a good while at like 110, 120. I think the price went up to 150. There was that opportunity to get into his program and get product. Even he mentioned that there was what was it, like Crown Zenith booster packs or something, like crazy deals, and no one was picking it up. So what's up with that? And what I mean by people think like, no, anyone can get access. All you have to know, like all you have to do is just like find someone, pay like a monthly thing, whatever. Like it's not as hard as you think it is to like get distribution prices, or like the only thing that's difficult is, keep in mind, it's not just like, you might think like, oh, I'm not going to get anything. Same thing goes for investors. Literally anyone, like everyone's getting their allocations cut, like their amount. Like people put in like 50 orders, they maybe get 5. But for investors, like we literally, like right now, we're not buying this stuff up. We're literally just waiting. Like we're literally just having a lot of cash on the sidelines. When the time does come, when the slowdown, when the correction, that video I made, when that happens, that's when we deploy all that. So we're not buying this, okay? And then at the same time, then people point fingers towards consumers, you guys, regular consumers, collectors, whatever, because you guys are buying this stuff at high prices, and people see, oh, well, hey, this guy sold, 20 ETBs for 140, 150. Okay, I can sell it for 135. Like people are buying this stuff for like crazy high prices, and that's one thing. Is scalpers, and then obviously the people buying it. But at the end of the day, it all comes around. You see one thing, there's all this demand but not enough supply to quench it. Oh, who's the one that spawns in the supply? Oh, it's not scalpers, investors, collectors, consumers, regular people. No, it's Pokemon themselves. They're the ones that print this stuff. They're the ones that supply this stuff. Okay? If anyone has any like just they're like seething, like just frustrated, upset, like I can't find this stuff, I can't, point your blame towards Pokemon. Okay? Point your blame towards Pokemon, because they're the ones not printing enough. And there's like, obviously like people like have like proof, like have this stuff, like, the allocations were very low for Prismatic compared to sets before, so clearly like Pokemon knows what they're doing, right? Like back then for Sword and Shield, people would not be buying on Pokemon Center booster boxes, stuff like that for MSRP. Now they got people paying MSRP for everything when MSRP literally went up. Back then it was 144. Now it's what, 161? People are literally begging to buy at MSRP. Pokemon literally just beat the system. All right. Maybe they're doing, who knows? It's all speculation. I'm not saying it's true or whatever. But, people are saying lower allocations than before. Okay. And that's what I'm saying is all this going on, it's because there's nothing, okay? Imagine Pokemon just printed this stuff like they did with Battle Styles, because if I'm not mistaken, Battle Styles is one of the most printed sets, from the eras or Sword and Shield, I don't remember. Probably in history, honestly, for sets. I think so. But if they did that, or if they did like a Crown Zenith reprint where they printed it so much, these prices, all this stuff, they would not hold. Like you could say like, oh, it's a strong set, this and that, but because there's so much of right now, they're increasing like very quickly and everything because people are desperate because there's no supply, there's no product, right? But the minute Pokemon like actually like holds their word and actually does, because we don't know how much they'll print, what they'll print, whatever, you know. But the minute they pull like I'm not gonna even say one. Yeah, 151 was printed a lot, but Crown Zenith is a prime example, or Shining Fates. Like, I mean, Shining Fates is a good example because the set was kind of it was trash. But Crown Zenith is a prime example of like they printed that set. They try to keep it down, but after like what, like okay, it came out what January 20. Okay, so 2 years ago, it's been out for, right, 2 years. Um, in 2 years, it was able to go from being stuck in like the high 40s, 50s, low 60s to now above 100. They tried everything. No. So that could be the same thing with Prismatic, but don't expect Prismatic to stay above 100. The minute they start like printing that much, those prices are going to come down, and then, people are going to get their fill of it. And at the end of the day, I'm going to say this. Okay, it might be a little bit of a hot opinion, whatever, but man, like just buy it and enjoy it. You don't have to buy a case, several ETBs. Literally, when I was a kid, people like to say like, oh, it's for the kids or whatever. Literally, when I was a kid, I would only get 1 or 2 booster packs a week. A week, that's it. You know how much booster packs were back then? They were $340. $340. Booster packs right now, like Prismatic is $11, right? Journey Together, what's this one? A sleeve? 9 or 8 for, I guess, a loose one. $9. $340. That's how cheap packs were. You know how much the tins were? Like level X tins or the prime tins with the legendary arcs, the shinies, which do I still have mine? I might still have mine, but I know I still have a lot of my old tins. But you know how much those things were? They were like what, like 14, 15? They were cheap. And like maybe once a month I'd get a tin. So it's like it's crazy that like people don't understand that like they think like, oh, the kids, they're not gonna be able to get a whole ETB or 5 ETBs, or oh, the grown-ups, like really, I don't like, it's like, bro, like back then, if you were actually in this hobby, you're not just coming here because of hyper demand or trend. Like you're actually like true to the hobby and you've been here for a while, okay? Because I've been here for like years now, okay? And like a good majority of people I see nowadays, like popping up, like, oh yeah, I had, like, no, you weren't part. Like I said, like I would literally talk to people and I'd be trying to bring up like older sets or this and that. They know nothing. They only know from Late Sun and Moon going forward. They don't know anything back. And I'm like, so you're new to the hobby, which isn't a bad thing, but it's like those are the same people that complain like, oh, I can't get anything, and they try to buy like a couple ETBs of Prismatic or whatever. Back then, I was a kid and I would only get 2 packs. And I was happy with that. So when it comes to the kids don't care. As long as they get Pokemon product, they don't care what product, they're happy with it. It's literally the older people that are crying, complaining like, oh, I can't get anything. And wait, if you're outpriced, go to another hobby, okay? Or buy other packs. Why do you specifically need Prismatic? Oh, because it has hits. No, because you're following, yes, it can have your favorite evolutions, but there's definitely a bunch of other sets that aren't as expensive as Prismatic, maybe cheaper, that also have evolutions. Oh, but it has all of them. Okay, then pay the price. Oh, but I don't want. Okay, if you want it so bad, then pay the price. That's how it works. Supply and demand. There's demand. Supply, like, it's basic economics. You want the product, buy it at the price. If you want to wait, wait. It's like, it's crazy because it's like, man, like, and then these people don't even stick around. They throw a fuss. They make shorts, whatever, like throwing, and then fast forward a year or two later, they're nowhere to be found. They quit the hobby, and I'm like, what? Like, what was that? All I'm gonna say is like, if you could get an ETB of this for wanting to be happy, man, because man, like back then, I was only getting like 2 packs or 110 a month. Okay, I was not getting anything, and I was still happy with it. The fact that, kids that were, at the same age that I was back then are getting like quad the amount more, a week than I would, like they're probably getting a whole booster box. Like, oh man, I wish I got a booster box when I was a kid. Man, I would have been stoked. But no. So all I'm gonna say is for the kids, they don't care. I'm just gonna say that they really don't care. Like they're happy with what they get as long as it has Pokemon. But it's mainly the older people, and I don't know. Like I can't really put words in people's mouths or their ideas, but it's like the people that complain, and I've noticed, maybe not everyone, but like the people that complain when they end up getting the product cheap, they end up falling into that same category of quote unquote scalpers, where let's say they find one at Target. Fast forward 2-3 days later, I see that same person on Facebook Marketplace selling it for double what they bought it for, so $100. And I'm like, so you're over here complaining about scalpers, this and that, and 2-3 days later, you're selling what? Like, I don't get it. But all I'm saying is like really like it just kind of like people say, oh, like trust me that like this stuff like this happens in probably every hobby. Right now it's just more pronounced in Pokemon because there's a whole bunch of videos of demand and everything hype. But really, the only entity to blame for all this is Pokemon themselves, and they know, like, who knows, but from what people say, allocations, numbers, or whatever, they're not printing enough. They didn't print enough, and that's the thing. They knew how hyped this set was going to be. They're really like they got the system, under control. Like they got the system. They figured it out. What other TCGs couldn't, they did. So who knows? Maybe right now, I wouldn't be surprised. This would be like at this point just like almost genius. Like if they're purposely doing this, like building so much hype, so much demand for this set that people just need it. Like that's what I'm saying. People get so upset and everything, like acting as if this is a necessity. It's a hobby. It's a hobby. Like, okay, you can't afford it. Okay, go do something else that you can't afford. Okay? Every hobby, you're spending some form of money, but it's not going to be cheap. If you actually go into the hobby, you're going to be spending a pretty sizable amount. Sports, even hobbies that people might not assume. Like, for example, let's say you try to go pro playing pool, okay? People say, oh, I just have to buy a stick or whatever. Like, no, like, chances are you're probably going to want to have a pool table. You probably want to, all this, like, hobbies aren't, so, like, it's a hobby. You're meant to enjoy, that's like money that you have that you can freely spend without worrying, without nothing. Like a hobby is something that you can do. It's not something you have to do or that mainly you need to do. Okay, people think like they're acting as if this is food and water that they need it to survive, and it's like, bro, like come on, all I'm gonna say, you know if Pokemon is like building this demand, like they know that people are deprived, like they're depriving people of this stuff. Who knows, booster bundles, they don't even release that much. There's a good chance that like there, who know, I don't know, maybe later on they do a massive reprint and all that, like, all those people that were deprived, if they're still in the hobby, they come in and start buying everything, like everything. They get satisfied, and then Pokemon maybe does a couple reprints, and then price starts. Who knows? But hey, that could be huge because keep in mind back then a lot of stuff would be sitting on Pokemon Center. Right now, almost every new release sold out. So all I'm gonna say is, if you want to blame, like you actually want to get to the core root of who to blame, it's Pokemon, because they know how hyped this set is, okay? And they didn't release enough of it. They didn't release it. Like so many distributors, like they put out, people were getting to their reps and the allocations were sliced in half, like all this stuff. As before, they would get their allocation numbers to the point, like, who knows, maybe a week or two, they'd be like, hey, we have this amount, 500 boxes or whatever, do you want them? Now it's like there's nothing, and and people try to say like, oh, look how much product they have. You don't know where they got the product. who knows? Maybe they did get some backdoor deal from an LGS or whatever, or maybe they went on the secondary market and bought that stuff. So people like to point fingers, blaming that, but it's like, guys, if you've been around when the Logan Paul boom happened, like you had shit like Champions Path. People were literally going nuts trying to get that, and look where it's at now. It's like after like what, like when did Champions Path came out? What, 2020 or 2021? Like, okay, somewhat, but it's been out for like a pretty good while, and you would have thought with all that hype or whatever, it would be like above like what, $200 in ETB or whatever. No, I'm pretty sure it's still 100 or a little under 100. I'm assuming. But keep in mind, Champions Pass was one of the ETBs that people were literally paying like what, 150. Like Shining Fates, people were paying absurd amounts when it first came out. People were same thing right now. When people are making complaints, whatever. That's how it was back then. Fast forward, that same product is done. It's down. It's super easy to get. But the only difference is the stuff that's like being, short sticked right now, like little supply, is like actual good stuff. Honestly, in my opinion, Champions Pass, Shining Fates, all that stuff, it wasn't really good. It wasn't. So guys, if you've been around, just look back. Like people say, history repeats itself. We could see that. Who knows? Because maybe Pokemon's doing up. We don't know. We don't know at the end of the day how reprints, how much, whatever. But at that, like, if you want anyone to blame, just look at the roots. Like, yeah, so you can say scalpers or whatever, but like I said, it's Pokemon, right? Because lower supply for a high demand set, what does that mean? People come in, because keep in mind, people from the sneaker community, they've been doing this for years, with sneakers and stuff, right? So they know how hype Pokemon is or whatever, so they're like, okay, there's little to no supply, okay, we can easily sell it because people are going to want this stuff badly. But if they were to print like a shitload of it, yeah, they wouldn't be making quick money. Who knows? Maybe like they'd be trying to make like maybe an extra, like, I don't know, 15, $20 off each ATB, but it's not going to be to the level that it was, before the release, where it was like an extra 50, $100 in ETB, so I'm gonna say that's just how it is. I mean, for me, yeah, screw the scalpers. I mean, like it's honestly crazy because, like I said, 90% of the people that are scalping aren't even part of this hobby. They don't even know anything about this hobby. They haven't even like played like any of the actual games. Like they probably don't even know their stats or nothing. They literally just hear Pokemon. They probably see videos or shorts or whatever, like the money people are making, and it's not that hard. Just go on TCG, look up the product that people are selling. You're like, oh wow, they bought it for $50 and you can sell it for, or Facebook Marketplace, and they're like, oh, I want to make easy money, So it's just crazy that people get this like this desperate over making a couple extra $100. Who knows? At max, an extra 1,000 for the year total, which is like, man, if you're really getting that desperate to make an extra, I don't know, 2, 3, 4,000. Because let's be honest, these scalpers, a good majority of them aren't even getting like if you're going scalping stuff from stores, you're probably not getting a good amount anyways. You're probably getting a couple ETBs, right? And all you're doing at the end of the day is just making yourself look like a complete like shit can. When you have people, like I saw a post, I mentioned it, where people agreed we're only going to get one ETB or whatever, and then you have some guy come in and just buy all of them. Then he tried to defend himself saying like, oh, well, he picked up half. And it's like, bro, that doesn't make it any better. Everyone agreed to get one, and you're coming over here saying you got half, and there's 6 in your damn card or something. It's like, what? Like you see, like it's so delusional. It's like, it's crazy that people, like, that's just how money is sometimes. People, like, money just really shows people their true selves. It really just brings out who that person truly is. And the fact that people get this desperate, it's crazy. And it's funny too, because I'm gonna make a separate video, but with investors, we're literally just sitting here. We're not over here going to fights. We're just sitting here. We're just like, okay, like, you guys have fun with that. We're gonna, let me tell you something. While everyone is focused on this, we're focusing our attention elsewhere, where that boom is going to end up going to where our attention is, but we're going to be so far ahead that people are going to probably still say the same thing, like, oh, you guys did something. It's like, no, we were just Like, don't have your attention where everyone else's attention is. Put it towards somewhere where it's sort of chill. Okay, that was an extra cough, but yeah, that's just my opinion. The root cause, like the root problem, it's Pokemon themselves because they didn't release enough. But then, yeah, I guess you can technically blame scalpers or whatever. But if you want to get to the real cause of who's to blame, it's Pokemon. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, feel free to drop a like, comment, and sub. Who knows what people will think. That's just my opinion on everything, and hey, that's just how it is. Like I said, I've been around the block. It's always the same thing. Wave of emotions, crash. Everything's accessible. No one wants it. Hype whatever dies, and it's the same thing. Rinse and repeat. It's literally the same thing. So it's just a roller coaster. But like I said, if you guys did enjoy, feel free to drop a like, comment, sub, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. With that, Vice and Alex.